What's going on, everyone? Good morning, and welcome to the next episode of the Wright Play. I am your host, the host with the most need for coffee, Blake Wright. Um, I'm just coming off of a pretty productive day yesterday. Filmed a podcast episode for tomorrow with Joe Wright, which I think is going to come out really well, and I'm excited for you guys to see it. Had a few auditions and made some songs and getting organized in that sort of realm. And I literally, just before I started filming this, I was writing the script, and then all of a sudden, what came up on my YouTube suggested was the Ben-Hur chariot race. And you want to talk about one of the most epic moments in cinema history? It's about 15 minutes, and after I fought my brain to okay, I just actually started watching it. And you could definitely see the parallels. I knew this, from the first time I watched Ben-Hur, but the parallels from that George Lucas took when he created the Phantom Menace, and it's still is so epic. You got that really bad chariot racer who's whipping his horses, and then you got Charlton Heston just going at it, just with the dust flying in his face, and just you want to talk about epic. And then the bad guy starts whipping Charlton Heston, and he's like, he flips over his chariot, stays on, and wins. He grabs the whip from him, starts whipping him. It's just like, man, you want to talk about creating a feeling. And, I think that that's what we try to aim for when we're creating cinema is creating a feeling. That's just so, that's what people want. Leaves an impression, But today, we're going to be talking about how to create a feeling and creating other feelings. Stillness, truth, and an exercise that you can do to get there is Uta Hagen's private moment. I worked on this a few different classes, but it's a good exercise for actors of all levels. It's a fundamental thing, just like repetition from Eisner. But stillness, truth. Who are you when, who is the character when nobody is watching? So, I tailor this message for performers, artists, and, people that are creatives. But, this is honestly for other people that are trying to just be more presently. It's a good exercise. It works well because it's about really knowing you. And once you get to the point and learn from the exercise where you really know you, then you can start doing this for another character. And it's all about exploration, trying to find stuff out. So Uta Hagen, the private moment, and what I've done, which is with my acting coach, in addition to doing stuff with other acting coaches, the coach I've worked consistently with over the years, Linda Watt, she taught this. It's like a coffee exercise, essentially where you're trying to create this private moment with a cup of coffee and recreate and experience having it. No lines, no scripts, no intention, but just being. And Uta Hagen does something similar called the private moment. It could be, I've seen videos of people folding clothes. I've seen in acting class, people folding clothes, people smoking a cigarette. I actually did that once when I was back in probably 2017. So when I was a younger man, and you just are supposed to forget that there's anyone else in the room. It's about truth, stillness, and vulnerability. It's personal. And Linda does a great job with the coffee exercise, and I think that essentially actors can learn a lot from comfortability, You're not just, sitting there pretending to drink something or to write something or folding clothes or whatever. You build the world. And this is really helpful when you're doing auditions and when you're on stage, because I know for me, like, this is something I want to work on more as an actor, is creating the world, um, to just get that, that bit more of, this is a real experience and a real emotional acting um, event. And I think that that's important, with the cup of coffee, you imagine the warmth, feel the warmth, you smell the cup, feel the steam, silence of the room. Where does your mind go? Where is the weight of your thoughts from that day? All of it is real, specific, and present, which is important to creating good art. Um, Generality is the enemy of good art. I'm not sure who said that, Jamie. Who said that? But it's it creates a click, and you activate your senses, you activate your memory, fill in the blanks, and suddenly you're not performing, you're just being. So I just wanted to like start off that our podcast with that sort of note and move right on to kind of my conspiracy theory for the day. One of my favorite actors to watch. I think he's incredibly entertaining, and I think he's extremely talented, and especially looking back at his past work and his work today. But Brad Pitt. Now, it's reported that Brad Pitt studied some Uta Hagen techniques. I'm not, going to dig into that too much. I just saw it on the internet. But something always has stuck with me, and this is my conspiracy theory. He eats on screen a lot. Watch his movies, watch his performances. He seems like he's always eating something. He's smoking something too. Is it more than just a cool look? Is it more than just a cool look? Because if I was going to be a acting analyst, teacher analyst, whatever, I would think, oh man, that could be a private moment for the character. It's human, it's grounded behavior. He's not really saying any words. He's not really acting. He's just existing. And because of that, we believe him. And that's what the whole exercise teaches us, teaches us to just be and just, it teaches us a lot more, but to stop reaching and to stop performing and just do what the character would do if no one was watching. Again, a great acting exercise for beginning actors and also, actors of all levels, because it's a simple reminder. It's the private moment is sacred because it reminds us to just simply be without the need to perform, impress, or prove, which I think is a hallmark and a benchmark of good acting. So, the deeper I've gone into this craft, the more I've realized, and I hear this all the time, and you don't really believe it until, it starts clicking. And then some days you believe it more than others, but the more I realize, the truth is you are enough. Everything you've been through, that's your foundation. All your struggles, your awkward years, your heartbreaks, your wins, your losses, that's material, obviously. That's humanity, duh. And there's more than enough to build each and every character with. And I think the click I had last night with this, and this is a good reminder for beginning performers and beginning artists, is that, the only thing that changes from actor to actor or person to person is the choices you make. Not how much you can fake or perform, but how much you show up, honestly, with what you already carry. You give, 100 actors the same monologue, they're all going to do it a little bit differently because they all make different choices. Is one choice better than the other? I don't know. That's up for the casting director, and audience to decide. But it's all about just going in and trusting your instincts in that way to bring in more confidence. And that statement, you are enough, you are the part, that should give you that little edge. So just keep remembering that when you're trying to perform, especially when you're building a character. This comes up when you've got a part in a play or when you are going in for an audition. It's just important. So, I'll leave you with this question. Who are you when no one is watching? It's where the truth lives. It's where the real art begins. And honestly, that's where your confidence lives too. You don't need to chase validation. You don't need to reach for things that don't align with you. You don't need to prove anything other than to prove something to yourself. And then even then, you don't need to prove really anything to yourself. You need to pursue what you want and go after what you want. And if you're proving stuff along the way, that's great, because that creates more self-esteem and more discipline. But again, I'm going to repeat it. You don't need to chase validation. You don't need to chase things that don't align with you. And that means people. That means the person that's going to leave you in the friend zone. It means a job that doesn't really care about you. I've been feeling like everything is a tool, and all the knowledge is a message, and all the wisdom is a tool as well. And something has been sticking with me is that God didn't ask you to go get a job. God says, seek first the kingdom, and then all will be given unto you. Got to go find that kingdom. Got to figure out what you need to do to seek it, how you need to put your mind on that. I think that it's got many different layers, that statement. But I think that you got to try to not be afraid to let things that are not aligning with you and things that you're trying to do because you're insecure go. Whether it's acting in your love life or just in life in general, just be real, be authentic. That's how you avoid the competition, by being you, because your story does matter and your presence matters and you matter. You are enough to tell the story, to be the part. And I feel like the more that you allow that, and I'm speaking for myself too, ladies and gentlemen and members of the audience, I'm feeling like the more that you allow that seed to grow and flourish, you create better art. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Joe and I will be talking for an hour about all things music, hip-hop, Christian hip-hop, filmmaking, what it's like being a father and what it's like growing in that way. But I hope this episode resonates with you. If you've done the private moment, please just, give a thumbs up on the video or comment like what you've done and how you feel like in the discoveries you've found. Sorry for the word salad right there, but it's a good exercise. So until then, I'll see you later. Stay present, stay true, keep making the right play. Peace.